Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good day. I'm just trying to stay as far away from the subject of Trump and politics, other than to mention it right here, as I can today. And that's one of my downfalls, is to get sucked into all these things I can't do anything about. It's not that I'm never going to mention politics again. In fact, the contrary, that's primarily what my fiction is, politics and social issues, as I've mentioned in my last video. But to sit and watch the independent news and to watch the doom and gloom on YouTube, I'm trying to stay away from it. I'm also trying to refrain from Facebook largely, only to share specific things, and definitely to very much curtail my sharing of the doom and gloom on Facebook, and to say that unless it's something that I know is going to make a difference, that I can make a true difference, I'm not participating in it. I'm not talking about voting. I'm talking about Buy Nothing Day, which it's dumb when Buy Nothing Day involves you buying everything you're going to buy on that day, the day before, the day after. That serves no purpose. What we need to do is what I've said multiple times. We need to have a long work strike or a long purchasing strike. I'm not talking about a day. I'm talking about weeks. Don't go to work or don't buy anything. But you've got to have enough people dedicated to do that. And that's never going to happen. So we might as well just not talk about that sort of thing. Except for in like a what if this worked kind of things. Like what if no one watched the Hunger Games? Remember that in the Hunger Games? Gale saying, what if nobody watched it? And Katniss says, that's never going to happen. Or I guess eventually it did happen because the Hunger Games ceased to be a thing. If you've watched that series, you'll find that out. I want to read something from my book. This is a trade copy. You can't buy it this way. Like I said before, Kindle only on Amazon. Trade copy meaning my husband printed it off his print shop. It's not for distribution. It's just some copies I could give some people. And I've got a spare copy. Facebook has a lot of weird, arbitrary rules about the terms of service. And I think it's funny, like I said before, how many men can say such hateful things to me, to borderline threats of harm or wishes of harm. And that's fine. And I say something like, Elon Musk, not even mentioning Elon Musk's name, just saying he, using his pronoun of he. I wish he would be launched into space without a spacesuit. And I got put in Facebook jail for harassment, when you literally can't just go grab somebody and launch them into space without a spacesuit. I don't know how you do that. I guess hyperbole is the lost art. Anyway, I had posted this section of my story on Facebook one time on my own newsfeed, not on a public page, on my own newsfeed, and it got taken down, which I think it ended up getting reversed because I fought it, but it took an entire day to fight that decision of Facebook to take something down as violence. Get this violence. Again, in a beer. So this is where Sebastian and Gemma have reconciled their differences and decided to get back together romantically after 18 years. A very long time. And the reason I had them apart romantically for so long, after they had been together romantically for so long, is I needed to give Gemma a chance to become her own person, because she hadn't been her own person. She hadn't had her own experiences. She'd always had experiences behind. Flashpan success, Sebastian. And the only reason I'm calling him that is his band Thrice only had kind of like a cult following. They had enough of a following, but it was kind of like not to the level of, like I said, the big hits of the 80s. It's kind of a, oh yeah, I think I've heard of that band. And he actually becomes a popular, really like person after he's out of the spotlight of both music and acting. But anyway, I'm digressing. So they're talking about when talking about they, I mean Sebastian and Gemma are talking about when they had been on tour way back in the day, when you were on the big tour buses in the mid 80s, and you would go from stop to stop to stop, and how grueling that was. And this is one particular thing Gemma's talking about. And she says, Gemma continued with her thought. And remember when Thrice was in Jacksonville? Somehow we ended up in that grubby hotel? How could I forget that? Attack of the killer cockroaches. Sebastian began eating fruit from a plate. That's another subject I need to discuss with my therapist. Yish, vile creatures. Now, if somebody doesn't know what a flying cockroach is, it's actually called a palmetto bug. It's these big bugs that are like around in the subtropics, and particularly in Florida. I guess you could call them roaches, but they're bigger than that. And man, they will attack your ass, and they'll fly around the room, and they'll attack you. And they'll jump off the ceilings. They're insane. You could be the toughest effort of anything, not be afraid of spiders, not be afraid of snakes. Wait till one of those things attacks you. Let me see if you don't scream. And that's the part I'm getting to. So Gemma says this. You screamed like a girl when one of them dive bombed you from the ceiling. I was laughing at you because we're from the land of terrifying insects, and you were afraid of American palmettos. You weaponized my can of Aquanet as bug spray. I thought we were going to choke to death from the fumes, which were only barely more tolerable than Asshorn Adam's deadly vapors. I'm glad none of us smoked around him because we'd all be dead if someone lit a match. Kaboom, Sebastian laughed. He seriously needed to lay off the Taco Bell. I think Adam was in the band Thrice. Adam was, I don't know, maybe he was the bass player. I don't really remember. But anyway, Gemma goes on to say, it was funny at the time. We ran into the bathroom of this hotel. We couldn't go to the tour bus to get away from the Aquanet fumes. We go into the bathroom. We take the towels and cram them under the little crack in the door. And we both climbed in the bathtub, and that's where they slept, in the bathtub, upright in the bathtub. And at some point, Gemma had taken a Polaroid of him and kept it. And it ends up being a catalyst, like, object, and I won't get into all that because that would take another 10 minutes. However, Gemma talks about how much she had sacrificed of herself for so long to follow him around, and then one day they get into it and he offers up this bluff. If you want to do this, why don't you file for divorce? And she called it, and then he didn't try to stop it, and then they're apart for a very long time. And she just said she had sacrificed so much of herself, and then he went and threw her away like a piece of trash. And that was her feelings about it. And to a large extent, they were very legitimate. However, it's what she needed. She needed to be separated from him so that he could mature and she could grow as a human being and have her own self and her own life for a while. And she realizes that too. But anyway, when I posted a thing about killing the cockroach and nearly choking to death and screaming like a girl, Facebook didn't like that. Even though it should have been clear, I was talking about a fiction story, that it wasn't my own personal perspective. It's a part of a fiction story, and Facebook couldn't figure that out. Yet people can come and tell me, like I said, all these horrible things that should happen to me. Anyway, I'm listening to the Center Stage soundtrack. I didn't realize most of these songs I actually don't like until I listen to it. There's a couple of songs in there, they're okay. That's alright, it was only a few dollars. And I really like the movie Center Stage. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Sorry about this rambling video. I just wanted anyone who's interested to know I'm doing okay. Not drinking. It's been pushing 45 days since I've had alcohol, so that's good, I guess. And just to let anyone know who's looking to buy any more books from me, I'm going to publish them soon. And I hope everyone has a good day.